First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you could never really know what's up next.
Hello, Braden Herrington here with Jack Wannan from Post Wrestling, filling in for my British Canadian counterpart, Davie Portman, who is on vacation somewhere in the jungles of Nam or something like that. But Jack, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Happy to be back here for another week as part of my residency here on upNXT. We have a new women's number one contender, or we have two number one contenders. I'm not really sure. We have a lot to get into from the action at Madison Square Garden Theater.
Yes. Every time we say Madison Square Garden or MSG, we need to make sure we say theater.
Yeah.
Theater. Yes. Well, appreciate you joining in here on the residency. It's like you've joined the ranks from like Post Wrestling Evolve, and now you're an NXT you're an upNXT regular. Look at you now, all the way here. You can find Jack's work here at postwrestling.com. You're listening to this podcast in whatever podcast app you're using on the Post Wrestling Network. And if you're in the YouTube chat right now, drop a frog, drop a hello. We're your NXT friends, and we're going to talk about some NXT and a whole big preview for Stand and Deliver, which is this Saturday from St. Louis. So lots to talk about in the world of NXT. So thank you, Jack, for spending your Tuesday night with us here again. I saw you yesterday briefly.
You did?
At your shoot job.
My shoot job, yeah.
Right.
I did a double take. It was like running into a superstar in public. I had to stay calm. It is funny actually, because I saw you, and then the second you walked away, I actually saw someone who is actually kind of a celebrity in the Canadian media sports centers. Jay Onright, I saw a few seconds later.
No way! Oh man.
So it was. I mean, it was weird. I had to tell him, like, sorry, I'm a little starstruck. I just saw Braden from Poisonrana a few seconds ago.
Well, shout out my friend Mike, who goes a way back with me, who I'm pretty sure works on Jay's show. So I know he's probably listening to this right now. Shout out Mike Skriz. You work on Jay's show. So confirm or deny if Jay Onright was at BMV in Toronto on Monday, March 30th. Mike, get back to me, please. But yes, wow, look, I thought I was at the celebrity. BMV in Toronto is a bit of a hotspot. I'm sorry.
You are a celebrity.
So. Yeah. But in the same store, Mike Murray, Scarborough legend, and W.H. Park, one of the most hated men in the post wrestling universe. He's quite the celebrity over there. But yes, wow, look at that. All the Canadian media sports-ish people showing up at your bookstore. So wow.
And I saw you on a beautiful day yesterday. Can't really say the same. Well, as of right now, I can't say the same, because I was kind of worried my power was going to go out because of the rain we had today. It was kind of relentless.
It was a crazy thunderstorm while watching the first hour, especially of NXT tonight. Like it was crazy, loud, big rain and everything, but we still have power. We still have internet, and nothing can stop us from talking about NXT tonight. But yeah, and shout out Mike Murray at BMV. Always like seeing the post wrestling adjacent people, because he was a good my girlfriend, we recently went to see Project Hail Mary, so now she's been trying to find the book, but the book is selling out everywhere because everyone, like, of course we could do it Amazon and stuff, but it was such a nice day where I'm like, no, let's walk to the bookstore where my friends work and support local. So just like you should support your local indie wrestling wherever you are listening to this show. But
of course, support local everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Support local. And if you're ever in Toronto, stop by BMV for the best selection of books, media, and WH's comic book section, especially. And tell WH Park how much you love him. I see Davie P in the chat. Wow, Davie P on vacation, but checking us out here on I'm assuming a Wednesday morning.
Yeah, some morning listening right now.
Yeah. He says look at these two studs breaking down the greatest wrestling show available on Netflix in the CW. Wow. Arguably, could tell he misses and I was messaging him with him about an hour ago, and he's like, I'm about to get on a plane. I'm going to some other island. I'm like, I'm watching Jada Parker and the Birthright. So which one?
It's the best wrestling show on the CW, but it is also the worst wrestling show on the CW. So
right, yeah, that's
worth remembering that.
That is true. Well, you're going to also join me next Tuesday night here. So a 3-week residency. Wow, you're going to have to drop the Evolve title or something if you keep it up this way. But John Pollock will join me this Saturday, the head honcho, the godfather of post wrestling. But I'm going to be the lead because this is my show. So upNXT presents a Stand and Deliver post show this Saturday night. So join us right after Stand and Deliver, right here on the Post Wrestling YouTube, as John and myself, the Brady and the Joe Po, will talk about all the standing and delivering from this weekend. So and follow along at Poisonrana Pod on Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff to keep up to date with all the stuff. But have you been in the WrestleMania spirit? Are you in the Stand and Deliver season mood? You feeling it?
I mean, we still are a little bit out from WrestleMania, but I am saying I do feel like every year, no matter how disconnected or connected to the WWE product I'm always in the WrestleMania spirit. I mean, just the entire weekend and all the programming that kind of is built around WrestleMania weekend, I find so interesting. It's like if there was like a film festival equivalent for wrestling. That's kind of what the WrestleMania weekend is. So I'm always very interested to see, just the madness that is the scheduling and the a million things to watch. Am I in a Stand and Deliver mood? I don't think so.
Right.
It feels weird. There's something about the build this year that has felt kind of off, felt kind of rushed, definitely. And we'll get into some reasons during the episode tonight. I don't think any of that has to do with it not being during WrestleMania weekend. I actually kind of still see that as a plus, the idea that it's getting its own weekend with not really any competition, at least in like prime time US wrestling programming this weekend. I don't see that as why this show is lacking hype. I think actually it's probably a plus, considering how much of a sort of it was overshadowed during a lot of recent WrestleMania weekends over the past few years.
I mean, yeah, okay. Since going back to the 2.0 and the paint splatter and all that, like NXT has taken a hit. NXT still in that like recovery mode. And then we had the whole new class of people that, as far as I'm concerned, some of them are big successes, as we'll talk about maybe some Raw thoughts in a sec. Like some of the new class of people are huge stars right now in the world of WWE and on the path to become. So like it worked in some capacity, but like it took a lot for people to, I don't know, give faith. Like there was that stink of like, oh, this is not what I want to watch anymore. And NXT lost a lot of people, but then over time we got some people back. We had Trick Williams, Obafemi, Carmelo Hayes, Braun Breaker. Like there were some new people, but then just in the last year with all these call-ups, which again, some of them doing really well, just with all these call-ups now, it left NXT a bit bare bones, and it's already a very like chaotic and what seems like loosely written, maybe last minute put together kind of stuff sometimes, because it's a bit like that. So it's asking a lot for people to like, oh, I'm not necessarily checking that out. And I feel like there's still that stink. So losing a lot of the big stars from last year and stuff, like, I don't know, like it takes a lot. Like, I think there's been some good stuff in NXT week by week. Okay. It's definitely not my favorite show, but from what we have right now, I think they've done an okay job. Like come Saturday, I hope we are, well, come Tuesdays today, but Saturday, I hope we are talking about like a good show with some good wrestling. But like, I definitely understand a lot of people still not having a whole lot of interest to check out NXT, but adding it on a separate weekend, weeks before WrestleMania, and not at 12 o'clock or something noon of the day of WrestleMania might maybe attract some more people to actually give it some time to check it out. So maybe that's what they're hoping there.
I mean, it's just the nature of NXT that the quality of the show is going to have ebbs and flows. You know, you bring someone onto SmackDown like Cody Rhodes and you can say, all right, let's just keep Cody Rhodes on SmackDown for as long as we want. We can do this for 5 years, let's say. That's not the case. That's not how it works in NXT. But my thesis that obviously we're going to get into throughout the show is the fact that I don't really think this falls on the roster too much. I think that there is a lack of star power in the lineup right now, and that just comes with a lot of these people not being too exposed to the NXT audience. A lot of people sort of playing much lower importance roles in recent months when we had all these bigger stars that hadn't left for the main roster yet. But I think a lot of these builds and these big matches being rushed and not given a full, proper sort of build to the PLE, I think has significantly hurt this show. I mean, we left, the show ended on a cliffhanger about one of the matches that we're going to see this weekend. And It's probably going to be announced, like whatever the decision is going to probably be announced on social media.
I haven't looked in the last like 10, 15 minutes, but it probably has. But
like, you're like, the women's title is one of the biggest programs on the entire show. It headlined tonight's show, and it ended on a cliffhanger before the biggest event of the year. Like, to me, it just seems like so much of this has been rushed. So I don't know. I'm not too hot on Stand and Deliver. I guess I'll put it this way. I've been hotter on other NXT PLEs in recent months than I am Stand and Deliver. And I feel like Stand and Deliver should be, no matter how big or small the roster is, it should be the biggest show of the year. And it doesn't feel that way right now.
We definitely have all the matches announced, even including like a kickoff thing. So we'll go through this episode of NXT, and then we'll definitely give some predictions at the end with all the matches fully. Maybe by the time we go through it, they'll have announced the triple threat. Probably is the direction. They'll just announce it on the kickoff show. Like, hey, by the way, tonight. I'm pretty sure we'll find out by the time you're listening to this match will be announced. But like the Stand and Deliver being on its own weekend, I think it is better. At least, like, you don't have to worry. It's a few weeks away from WrestleMania. Okay, cool. And hey, all the NXT people can go to WrestleMania and just enjoy. They can go hang out at Gronk Beach and not have to worry about waking up at like 2 a.m. for call time for NXT Stand and Deliver. So I'm sure they
can try their hand at stand up at Kill Tony WrestleMania.
Oh man, what NXT stars do you think would kill or bomb at?
I think by the end of the night, the Vanity Project would no longer have contract.
Goodwill Hunting. He's going to turn into the Martian by the end of that, I guess. But,
I don't know. I think that putting your Performance Center trainees on a stand-up show is probably a very bad idea.
Ren Sinclair would slay. I feel like she would murder if she had the 60 seconds in the bucket. Isn't that how it works?
How would Shiloh Hill do? Are we leaning good or bad?
I feel like he actually would probably be good. He talked about the dark web.
60-second routine. I think he could pass.
You know what? I actually think that would be an interesting. Sean, Triple H, book it. Shiloh Hill on Kill Tony. 60 seconds. He'll talk about like the dark web or some weird
something
fucked up. But yeah, wow. NXT at Gronk Island, Gronk Beach. Is that a real thing? That's not a real thing, right?
No, I don't think it. I don't know.
We're in the world of AI. What is real these days, and what is
when it got announced, I was just like, sure, whatever. We're just doing anything now.
Sure. Yeah. What was that? Has Mr. Beast been booked for a match yet at WrestleMania? No, not yet.
No, but maybe he's going to be like the second for I Show Speed's team with the Vision.
He'll break the curse or something like that. Did you watch any Raw from last night?
I did.
Okay, so we had Cody Rhodes and Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie, is she the one that Randy's been talking to? Comes out and says, "You're not your father." And Cody says, "Well, you're not yours." And the crowd seemingly cheer for Vince McMahon. Is this the way to bring Vince McMahon back onto? Does he help Randy win at WrestleMania? Is that a crazy take?
I didn't read into it that much.
Okay, maybe I didn't either, but I'm maybe just reaching a little bit.
I don't know. I actually, I thought that was a decent segment with Cody and Stephanie. I mean, like, I thought the way they alluded to Vince was kind of uncomfortable, but otherwise it was decent. I mean, I think that the Cody Randy thing has sort of lacked something. The build so far has lacked something for me, and that segment gave it at least a different angle, like this doubt that Cody could sort of beat this alter ego that Randy Orton can challenge. So I don't know. I mean, how are you feeling about that matchup? Like, what's your temperature about the bigger WrestleMania matchups right now?
Yeah, I'm not in the WrestleMania mood. I'm not necessarily loving WWE as much. The more it's the giant machine talking about Gronk Beach and Kill Tony and all the shows and, like, I don't know, all I don't know. It's been like this for a while of at least like a year onwards of how I felt towards WWE as a product and as a whole. And I still watch it and check it out. And it's, technically part of my job. I'll watch NXT because that's what we do here. But I can't say I'm like, I don't have the FOMO of like, oh, wow, I wish I was going to that. And I don't know. There's something about the product right now is just rubbing me the wrong way. And I'll still watch it. And I'm sure there's some things that I loved. I'll tell you what I did like, if we're talking about positives. Brock Lesnar and Obafemi. Like, Obafemi being someone I've watched here on NXT for the last little while and seeing him get propelled into this huge spot for him. And like, I'm definitely over Brock, but if he can be a nice, like, catapult for Obafemi to literally probably going to get a catapult spot, because that one dude, that jobber cop, took that throw on the, like, outside. Oh my God. I watched that a few times today, but yeah, like, give those guys 10 minutes, have them kill each other, and then Oba should go over, and there you go. Like, he's a made monster and everything. But of course, I just loved how Triple H had to get involved in the middle of this story.
Seemingly came from the crowd or something.
Came out of nowhere. He's like, hey, I gotta get involved into this for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, like, one of the biggest positives I'd say in recent weeks is how Obafemi has, within weeks, become one of the biggest names on the entire roster. I mean, we've seen so many times people get called up and you're thinking, oh, this guy's going to be a star, he's going to be a huge deal. And then they just kind of don't treat someone how they're supposed to be treated. And it's been the total inverse of that with Obafemi, who is, I mean, I've heard people have discussions about should his match be headlining one of the nights. I don't personally think it should, but I feel like just those discussions being had illustrate how much people are excited about this match with someone who's been on the roster for 2 months.
Like, I'm just excited because I'm hoping that he just, like, eventually steamrolls Brock and gets this giant win over him. And, like, I feel like that's the reason Brock is brought in, to help get someone over. And it's Oba. Like, how he got here, okay. I like just the last few weeks of them just, getting, when Oba got the best of him, it just highlighted, like, the size of these guys. And okay, like, a lot of the smaller athletic wrestlers is definitely what's gotten popular in the world of, like, wrestling and all that stuff. But it's still nice once in a while to see some big hosses throw each other and stuff. So the best use of Brock possible, I think, is this match. So definitely something I am looking forward to. Like, I think wrestling fans unanimously, this match would be like, okay, there's a curiosity of, like, what's it going to look like when these two giants go at it. Did you hear Brock talk about that sword tattoo on his chest? People always wondered about it.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, whoa, Brock all of a sudden showed up in, like, what, New Japan? He had this giant sword on his chest, and then UFC had this sword. And in this interview, he's like, yeah, I just got really drunk and then got it done. Just picked it.
And then he just woke up with it, and he was like, I guess I have this now.
It's the most Brock Lesnar.
Listen, some people wake up with much worse tattoos. I mean,
yeah.
I'm in the camp that it looks pretty cool. Like, if you're built like Brock Lesnar, you can get away with a tattoo like that.
Jack, you gonna get this sword tattooed on your chest?
No. You think I'm built like Brock Lesnar?
It's a scary tattoo. It's pretty bad.
Like, if you are a scary looking person, I think you can get away with that.
He's definitely up there as one of the scariest people. So I guess that works out for him. But that's definitely a match I am looking forward to with WrestleMania. And, like, that's only going to be, like, Hopefully,
yeah, I was gonna say if you have 5 minutes, you'll get your fix during WrestleMania, I guess.
Exactly. So that's what it is. Another thing coming out is, so Seth isn't fighting Brock with Paul Heyman, but Seth tries to attack Paul Heyman, but then Gunther shows up and sleeps Seth and challenges him to WrestleMania. Don't quite know how we got here. It's a bit of a but Seth versus Gunther, when the graphic popped up, is like, yeah, okay, that sounds pretty good. Probably two of the best workers going. Again, muddied story here a little bit of like, doesn't really make sense unless we hear some explanation, but I'm okay with having this match. This sounds like it could be a potential show stealer. But
yeah, I think this could be in-ring wise a really great match.
Yeah.
The storyline is a little weird, and they have a couple more weeks to connect the dots and kind of explain how they got here. So I'm willing to give them some room to work there. I will say though, like in recent months, seeing Gunther end the careers of John Cena and AJ Styles
and Goldberg
and Goldberg, yes, that is part of it. This does feel like a bit of a letdown. Like you go from these huge matches and great performances in these huge matches, and then you're kind of just in a grudge match that doesn't really mean anything. To me, that's a bit of a letdown. As much as Seth and Gunther as a match is an interesting match.
Gunther retired John Cena, and technically John Cena was booked on WrestleMania before he was. It's crazy.
Yes.
Absolutely crazy. Again, really excited about this match. I just think how we got here, like, is Braun Breaker going to be involved? They were doing so much stuff with the Vision, but of course now they got to do stuff with Speed and Logan Paul and Danhausen. So I guess they're all tied up. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sympathetic to the Seth situation because it's like, really, how can you put him with anyone in relation to his story without it being totally lame? Just injuries have clouded that in a way that they can't really book around. But it's just like you go back to January 31st or whenever it was that he faced AJ Styles, and you tell the person watching that match that, yeah, this guy doesn't really have a WrestleMania plan, and it's not going to be figured out until like a few weeks beforehand. You're going to be like, what?
Yeah, it just feels like, okay, is Heyman going to reveal like Gunther's now a Paul Heyman guy or like something? It didn't feel like that after that.
I was assuming it might be more of like Gunther's like a hired gun for them. But
a hired Gunther for them, yes. Yeah,
Gunther,
exactly.
yes.
Yeah. Like, again, really think this should be the match of the weekend for WrestleMania of WWE, but just weird how, like, as soon as he attacks Seth, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that should be a good match. But Tyler Black and Walter, come on, it should be great. But how all the masked men garbage and Scooby-Doo bullshit, and now it's just weird. Like Gunther was on this crazy run, and then he felt like such an afterthought that I don't know. They have a few weeks, but they can turn it around. But again, like instantly match-wise quality, this will be the one, hopefully. So
one more thing about that, it's kind of weird that like Seth Rollins and this angle went from being the thing that they would like open Monday Night Raw with to a thing that would just be like, and quickly, let's just get this out of the way. Just do a quick little 3-minute thing in the ring, and then we'll move on to the next match.
Yeah. Well, then we had CM Punk and Roman Reigns. The feud is, hey, Punk, you're old. And Roman Reigns last week got the best of Punk through the table, and this week it was Punk powerbombing Roman through the table. But the best thing to come out of this segment was the fan footage of after Monday Night Raw, where someone in the crowd is in Punk's face, booing very heavily. And Punk replies, "Fuck you, buddy. This is the Garden. The marquee says wrestling, not cinema, you fucking idiot."
What? He said that to a fan?
That's the quote I heard from CM Punk's mouth from the video I watched. Maybe if he was in the other company, that would make sense. I don't know.
So
it's just funny. Like that's the CM Punk I want to see. But it's just like he's talking about, no, this is about wrestling. It's like, oh, I don't know if it is, but I liked that more than the actual. I watched that show segment.
Monday Night Raw. It wasn't a lot of wrestling it was about, but
there was maybe 30 minutes of wrestling.
Yep. Yeah,
that's
something
crazy.
Like that.
Yeah, wrestling is on the marquee. Is it? I don't know. I love that line from Punk more so than the actual segment from Punk. So I hope they play that on next week.
I do appreciate that their segment this week was like short and sweet, that it was just like a quick brawl, because they've been having these really drawn out promo segments, and I've enjoyed some of them. Like I really have, but you can't just do that every single week without it eventually becoming a little stale. So they changed it up, and I thought that was good.
So what do we get next? Like a sit down interview?
Well, it was mentioned on Monday's podcast that we haven't gotten a contract signing yet. I mean, this match isn't even official. So
I hope the contract was signed a long time ago, but yeah.
You never know. Cards subject to change. Adam Pearce, he's worried about losing all these matches. I think it would be a great angle if just like these brawls actually cause him to lose a match, and he actually has because realistically, when you think about it, he's worried about all these scuffles leading up to WrestleMania, causing a match to fall off the card. But that's never actually happened with him. Like, all his matches tend to happen.
Well, WrestleMania, we still have a few weeks, but the match of the weekend I saw be announced, and as much as I think Seth and Gunther will be good, I saw something happening WrestleMania weekend at the Hitchcock Memorial Show, WrestleCon.
Ooh.
Ricochet versus Leon Slater has been announced. I feel like instantly that is match of the weekend potential right there. If you're going to Vegas, that would probably be the show to go to now. Between that with Masato Tanaka and Mark Davis, I think on that show, that show is loaded. I would definitely go to that one, and Spring Break looking fun as well. So whether you're going to WrestleMania weekend or you will maybe be watching and streaming and all that stuff, there's plenty to take in. But yeah, some of the indie stuff definitely has my attention with some of the wrestlers.
Considering Slater's ties to TNA and his close ties to NXT, when I saw that him versus Ricochet announced, it was almost like, is this allowed? Like,
yeah.
Do your parents know this is happening? Like,
are you sure you're allowed to do this? I think there's another match happening with Ricochet and another WWE talent, and there's a few this weekend. And there's a few of the NXT guys and WWE guys doing like Bloodsport and stuff, but I guess Leon Slater, he's not the
AEW guy.
Yeah. There's a few that will be tangled up in some of these indie shows, but I guess that's the way it's working. Like, they're letting WWE guys do this kind of stuff. I mean, TNA, okay, he's not working for WWE quite yet. So, but still, like, he's someone who's been featured pretty prominently. I mean, not recently. It's kind of weird that he's not on Stand and Deliver. Like, okay, we have Mike Santana from Impact or TNA tonight on the show, but Slater was a pretty big part of the show with Javon, and then since Javon's kind of been called up, he's not been on NXT. Forgot about him, but he's pretty good, and that Ricochet match should bang. Absolutely.
I think there's been a general pullback in TNA talent on NXT in recent months. I mean, Santana was on tonight's show, but that was more of like a local pop type thing.
Yeah.
It didn't really feel like we used to see like full storylines between NXT and TNA wrestlers, and we don't really see that anymore. But yeah, I mean, that's the Hitchcock Memorial Show is like one of the events that it stands out every year, but the lineup this year is just nuts. So I'm definitely going to catch that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And same with Spring Break, the stuff, Sandman and Janela and the Invisible Man and all that stuff. Brody Jr. Yeah. But yeah, seeing like a crossover. I know the Rascals are doing a bunch of stuff. You're seeing a lot of CMLL people pop up and everything. So it feels like it'll still be a big weekend with all the other like non-WWE stuff. There's so much to do. This is the biggest ever. Like, it looks like the lineups of shows on top of shows to everything. Like, they got you in Vegas, and I'm sure all the shows you can watch at home as well. So still got a few weeks till WrestleMania. This week is Stand and Deliver, and then next week you'll join me for upNXT again. But then it's Dynasty weekend, and it's a little bit of a weekend going on in Vancouver. First, if anyone out there listening in Edmonton, I'll be checking out the Dynamite Collision next week in Edmonton. My first time visiting there, so holler if you hear me, and DMs are open if you're in the Edmonton, you're going to the show. Would love to hang out and give you some stickers and whatnot. But Then Davie and I will be going to Dynasty, and we're going to Mystery Wrestling. And then I'm still on the fence about Tokyo Joshi Pro the Sunday, because it'll be a long day. But Dynasty, looking forward to. Swerve and Kenny from last week was an awesome match, and definitely got me hyped for Omega and MJF at the pay-per-view. So Dynamite they picked back up with this week with some big stuff, I thought. So it got me hyped. Did you check it out? Are you hyped for that show?
Yeah. Dynasty is shaping up very well right now, and
yeah,
I think it's going to be a really good card. I think sometimes like it's challenging when AEW has these sort of quick turnarounds with pay-per-views. That this next one's only like 4 weeks after the last one we saw. So, but they've done a pretty good job with building some meaningful storylines and putting them on for this pay-per-view. I'm excited to hear your journey about this trip. Are you going to check out the West Edmonton Mall as part of your visit there?
I was thinking it, and I know it doesn't have a Shrek water park, the DreamWorks water park, like American Dream Mall, but I've heard so many things about the West Edmonton Mall that I'm tempted to.
It's a fun time there. Their indoor water park there is fun.
Crazy.
Listen, it's no American Mall or whatever, but it is fun.
The last time I went to the Shrek water park, the DreamWorks water park, I mean, and then they had a was it Godzilla or like some sort of monster kaiju battle thing, and then right next to it GCW was doing a show. So it was like all this stuff, and then there's snowboarding in the mall. Like, I'm sure American malls are a lot bigger, but yeah, I am thinking about checking Edmonton, that mall out. I want to go line dancing in Alberta, like a true cowboy or a fake cowboy for the night. But Vancouver people, I know our friend Bruce Lord from Post Wrestling. I hope to be linking up with him in Vancouver that weekend as well. So again, anyone out that way in the West Side, DMs are open, and let us know. We will meet up and stuff. But lots of wrestling going on in the next few weeks. So whatever you watch, whatever your poison is, Poisonrana.ca for links of everything that we do. And if you're in the WrestleMania season, we are throwing a WrestleMania watch party. Poisonrana.ca gets you links to our WrestleMania weekend. We got both Saturday and Sunday, 2 nights of wrestling, and we got some games and prizes and some championship belts to give away. So looking forward to having a big party in a few weeks for WrestleMania here in Toronto. And one plug, Davie is away, but we pre-recorded a big show. The 25th anniversary of WrestleMania 17 is tonight at midnight, April 1st, 2001. And Davie and I recorded a huge review of WrestleMania 17, Rock Austin, TLC 2, Gimmick Battle Royal, and so much more. So that'll be out tonight after, I'll put it up after recording this show. So that'll be out on the Patreon. Check out all the other stuff that we do. We will be doing some like live diaries in Vancouver and whatnot as well. So follow along the content as we continue. The wrestling never stops, and NXT never stops, because let's talk about it. NXT from March 31st, 2026 from MSG Theatre in NYC tonight. And we start things off on the road to Stand and Deliver this Saturday. Mike Santana, the TNA world champion from, where is he? Brooklyn, New York? They say he's from Brooklyn. He comes out here with OTM, and they're going to team up to take on DarkState here. Now, Jack, did you notice DarkState was down 1 tonight? Someone was missing.
Yeah, our guy Cutler James was not there.
Interesting. Cutler James was nowhere to be found on this show, and this is the episode that starts the downward spiral of DarkState. But he wasn't even here. He wasn't there to help them. What is the fate?
He's been hurt for a while, right?
Was he hurt?
I think so, maybe. But what are you trying to imply here? Are you trying to imply this is like a Jasmine Nix type thing? Like,
look, I've watched NXT a long time. That sometimes when they don't show up on TV and they don't reference them at all, I'd worry a little bit. I wouldn't pick up your phone right away. Maybe, I don't know.
I would counter and say, though, Lexis King was off TV last week and he just showed up this week.
But that was because we knew of an injury. Whereas this is like, they didn't even reference him.
That's true.
And that's worrisome for some NXT talent. If you don't get referenced, oh man, it's not good news. But like, I don't know. He was definitely not my favorite. And I don't like DarkState to begin with, but he was definitely someone who, like, he has a wrestling background, but he was someone that Cutler James was doing the like off the cuff gay jokes in his promo segments, and then they quietly dropped that. But so I feel like if he ends up on the indies, it's a gimmick that would totally get over, right? You just continue.
Yeah, I mean, that. He was kind of set up for failure because his whole character was the goofy one that would throw off the sort of swagger of the group.
Yeah.
And like
no reference to him.
when you're the comedic device for a group, you're kind of the disposable one. But I'm not going to jump to conclusions with him.
Yeah. It's just when they don't reference, it is watch out. But DarkState sans James Cutler James. Sorry. We have Bronco who takes down Dion Lennox and Sugars early on here. There's a leg lariat for a near fall early on. Eventually, DarkState are tagging in and out on Bronco, beating down on him. They don't let him tag. He makes the tag to Price, but the ref doesn't see it, so they continue to beat down on him. Eventually, Price tags in. There's a big headbutt to Dion that looked like it connected. And then some big slams to everyone. Eventually, Santana's in. There's a huge cutter on Dion Lennox, but then it's broken up. There's then a tope to the outside onto everyone. He goes up top and hits a frog splash to Dion, but Lennox kicks out at 2. There's then a huge DarkState bomb off the top rope to Santana, but the other two of OTM break it up in the last second. Santana's in the ring with Sugars at one point and hits this very nice pop-up snap Death Valley driver. But then it all kind of breaks down where everyone's fighting everyone, which allows Santana to hit spin the block. And then OTM are in with their, I think Vic just yells, OTM, they're out the mud. But that's the name of their tag team. So I don't know what's the name of their finisher, but it's kind of like a double angle slam or a Scott drop or something. But OTM get the win with Mike Santana over DarkState. And what is the fate of DarkState? But a funny thing in this match is this is a tag match that opened, mind you, a 6-person tag match. The next match is the tag team #1 contendership match. And about 3 times in this match, Booker T mentioned that the winning team will go on to win gold. So I'm not sure if he misunderstood that this wasn't that match, but just making sure Booker T is following with the product. But there was some fun stuff in this match, I thought. Right.
Yeah, this was this like match didn't really have much of a storyline connected to it, at least not when we saw it. There was some stuff coming out of it that we're going to talk about later, but it was a fun opener. The crowd was into it. This crowd was kind of hot and cold at points tonight. Like there were some parts of the night where something interesting was happening. At least I thought it was interesting, and it just didn't really get a reaction. But having Santana, New York's own in this match, they were behind it, and it was they got a fun match.
Like, I know he's the champion in TNA and everything, but like when he dabbled here in NXT, he was a very hot character and people definitely spoke highly of him. And like, I feel like he would easily fit back in to NXT territory and could be someone that WWE still maybe like plucks away from TNA eventually down the line. Like I know he's the guy right now, but he could easily fit into WWE. He works great. His character basically is New York from what I watch on NXT, but hey, they go to New York a lot. So that works. But like, I feel like he's a good addition to NXT. So I know this is the latest TNA thing that we've had, the crossover, but he always looks pretty decent. DarkState are fine wrestlers, but I don't know what we're going with this with the team. Are they going to descend it? We'll find out. Possibly, maybe next week there's something that happens with DarkState or some reveal of what's going on. But we shall see.
Yeah, no, Mike Santana. Anyone who's a regular viewer of TNA would agree that Mike Santana's for long has been one of the most interesting people on the program. Just a really great babyface, a fun in-ring performer, and you don't see this too much in his NXT appearances, but he is incredible on the mic. Like he is one hell of a promo. I mean, DarkState, like you said, they're pretty inoffensive in the ring. They've had some rough storylines, and I still really feel like they haven't resonated with the viewers in a way that has made anything about their drama feel like it matters.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what happens next. Like, you can't tease like, oh, we're having problems, what's going to happen with us, if people don't really care if you split up or not.
They're definitely, they just never knew what the character was, like Shield, Timu version. Like, I'm not sure what no one's safe, and on site is basically what their gimmick was, and the masks and stuff. But
yeah, and
they're decent.
Their big push was getting the tag titles and Dion Lennox considering becoming a singles champion, which never happened. So
right.
If that's your sort of peak, people don't really care to see your descent, because that's not really much of a, I mean, they didn't even really have much of a run with the belts. But
yeah, I'm not the biggest fan, but we shall see. There's still hope in NXT. You know, we don't like to write people off, but definitely need some changes with whatever's going on with that. We go to Vic Joseph with a sit-down pre-tape interview with Miles Bourne, the North American champion. He says he's had a bumpy road here in NXT, but wants to thank No Quarter Catch Crew. Shows some clips of him hanging out with Charlie, Ren, and Tavion. And then he says he also wants to thank Ethan Page, who showed me that I needed that edge. I needed that ego's edge that could push me to get me to become champion. And, well, last year I wasn't even on Stand and Deliver, but this year I'm walking in champion, and I'm going to do the same when I walk out, because Johnny Wrestling may show up this Saturday, and I want him. And that is when, speak of the devil, Johnny Gargano walks in. Now, he's wearing his old school Johnny Wrestling t-shirt, but he still looks like sad Johnny, like depressed Johnny. And he comes in and sits down, and he goes, oh, you want Johnny Wrestling? Well, around these parts, I used to be known as Johnny Takeover, which I think we were definitely talking about last week. Mm-hmm. Streets never forget Johnny Takeover. He says, if Johnny Takeover shows up, he will eat you alive, and says that this isn't personal, Miles, but that championship is. I've been champion before, and this is the right step to get my life back on track, because Saturday, I won't lay down. I will stand and deliver, and I need this more than you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the whole reason he was laying down is so he could say this. I will now stand up and deliver at the PLE on Saturday. So Johnny versus Miles on Stand and Deliver. But it's what we said last week. If you're a true NXT diehard, this is the guy. This is the heart and soul of NXT. And okay, we're not quite sure what's going on with him in the main roster, and he lost his friend and everything, but he's literally saying, hey, the good version of me is going to show up on Saturday. Okay, bring it. Let's see some good wrestling. So I hope these two put on a banger this week.
It's funny. Our sort of perception of his appearance in that gauntlet match last week was kind of like, it was a little weird, but whatever. And then I go online after and realize people hated that.
Yes,
like,
yes.
It was like people really shit on that. Like, I feel like we were being really charitable about it. And just people outright rejected that. I think that this segment did something to help it. You know that you're getting that sort of rejuvenated Gargano in this upcoming match, and it feels like there's something kind of on the line here for him, where he's broken himself down, and now he's ready to build himself back up.
He said, I need to bring this title to SmackDown. It's like, no, you don't, dude. We have enough. We can have this here, actually. Why don't we keep this here? So I actually changed my mind. I think Miles is beating him.
Yeah, no, I mean that's like, the one thing that I think is really interesting is like, how do they book themselves out of this? Like, is this just one way to sort of extend the storyline of Gargano being depressed? I
think so.
Yeah, but I don't know. People like, I think this rivalry is not going to bring back the people who really resented what happened last week, and I think people have a fair reason to think that. Like, they were trying something really different last week, and it was weird. But they're both going to have Gargano's incredible in the ring, and I think I'm a big fan of Miles Bourne. I would imagine you probably are too. So I think it'll be a good match.
I think this could be potentially the match show stealer. Like, Johnny Gargano in NXT, he did something. That black and gold Johnny was a different beast.
Yeah.
That little guy, that little that little dude kicked out of everything. So Miles, and whatever you got on Saturday, Johnny Takeover is going to kick out at 2.999. You guarantee it. Like, yep. I selfishly want
clap.
Yeah, exactly. Like, don't forget, this guy knows how to ball. But I want Johnny to win, but I think it makes way more sense for Miles to win. Like, it doesn't do the story. What would happen if Johnny wins? Okay. Like I said last week, the one thing I do
to SmackDown.
Now it's a SmackDown title. I mean, you have
now it's a 2-minute backstage segment.
All I know is like I want Johnny Gargano versus Jackson Drake. That is the like NXT opponent. So if Johnny wins this, there's potential to get that title to Jackson Drake like next Tuesday or something. Then let's just do that because sorry Miles, but like Miles is good too. I hope this is a good match, but like I don't know.
I do want Miles to retain just because it felt like he was really treading water with no meaningful, purpose on the roster for a long time, which hurt because he's a fun wrestler. He's a good promo. I like him as a babyface. And now that he has this title, I feel like it's a chance to really do something with him. Yeah. If he drops it this soon, I think that'll be upsetting.
Well, there's Gargano escape for him this Saturday. We see Ren Sinclair backstage with Kendal getting ready. And says, Kendal, tonight, you got this, but I'll be back, but you got this. But we go to our next match, a tag team match, and number one contenders. The winner of this faces Vanity Project at Stand and Deliver this Saturday. The Birthright, Uriah Connors and Stax Lorenzo taking on Los Americanos, Rayo and Bravo. And right when the Birthright make their entrance, the Luchadors hit double planchas to the outside. As the bell is rung, they crotch Uriah and they start to do their dances. This is when Stax goes to the outside after he had some offense, goes to the floor, and then grabs his fiance, his wife, Ariana Grace, and then starts to dance with her, kind of mocking the Americanos dance here. When he starts dancing with her, but he lets go of her briefly, when Bravo knocks him down, takes his spot, and starts doing the dance. And then Grace starts dancing with him, only to realize it's not Stax and it's Bravo. The classic Shawn Michaels Survivor Series spot. The NXT is just Shawn every week going through his book, like, oh yeah, let's do that one, right? But yeah. Somehow Grace no one's come out. Yes,
Grace is great in these like slapstick kind of spots.
Yeah, like this is the classic Shawn playbook where he did that with Melina and Nitro, right? But Uriah back in the ring with Rayo now and hits a stunner, which looked pretty cool. Rayo hits a huge power bomb for a 2 count. There's then the 10 punches and some suplexes. Stax is in there now, and then Ariana like distracts the referee, which allows Lexus King, who we should mention is back here tonight with his cane. I guess he does need that cane now. He uses the cane and the ref doesn't see, and he smacks Bravo, but Bravo kicks out at 2. The match continues. This is when Shiloh Hill shows up to scare away the Birthright, but Uriah hits a swanton, but Rayo kicks out again. And then there's all breakdown of chaos with all the people, but eventually it allows a distraction for the Luchadors to load each other's masks. I like how they both have the piece of metal that they then just trade to themselves, and then they load the masks and then they don't just load their own masks, they load each other's masks. Take that how you will, but they hit flying headbutt and Bravo gets the pin. So therefore the Los Americanos are going to Stand and Deliver this Saturday to face the Vanity Project. But yeah, a fun tag team match.
Yeah, we knew who was going to win this because there would just be no heat on seeing the Vanity Project face another heel group in the Birthright who have even less interest, I would say.
Yeah.
This was a fun one. I mean, the metal plate thing has gotten really boring for me because they finish literally every single match the exact same way. And I think the last week's match when they were on NXT was genuinely the exact same thing, where it was El Grande Americano distracting the ref while they loaded up a mask for the win. So, I mean, that's beyond stale for me at this point. But, everything before then was decent, and this didn't overstay its welcome at 10 minutes. So,
like the one I'm looking forward to this match because I like Vanity Project. These two, obviously, Bate and Dunn, Rayo Bravo. They're good. So like that should be the fun match. It's just I forgot to mention Americano got up on the apron here as well. He showed up to try to help them with the distraction and the win. But like Jackson Drake and him they should almost just make it a trios match, like the rematch it from the week before, right? Because like those guys, I guess, are left out, but they'll be managing them or whatever. But this should be a fun match. I'm assuming they're not featured on WrestleMania, so this allows them to have something going on right now.
Yeah,
right?
and I think it's worth highlighting that all three Americanos here got a pretty big pop from the New York crowd. And despite being a pretty small part of Monday Night Raw, they are pretty well received on a weekly basis. And they are much more crucial to AAA's weekly programming. But to see them get a huge reaction in America, where I assume only a fraction of the fans are catching AAA at 10 p.m. on Saturdays, I think that's a testament to the fact that this has really been working as of late.
I think so. Yeah, like they're a funny gimmick. It's fine. It'll definitely run its course. I'm definitely not it's not my favorite thing, but there's some decent wrestling that's coming out of it. And Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne weren't necessarily being featured before this, so I don't know. At least they get to see some good stuff. But
that's the silver lining for them.
Yeah,
I think it's like a trend of this year's Stand and Deliver that a lot of matches are like really good matches on paper, but just like didn't really get a good build.
Yeah, it's just WrestleMania this year, I guess, as well. We see Vanity Project watching on, and they say this Saturday, so we get the match. We go backstage. DarkState is very upset. Dion Lennox super pissed. He goes, "What is happening? What has happened to DarkState? We were supposed to be on the top. We were so close." And Sugars says, "Yes, when DarkState strike, ain't nobody safe." And Lennox says, "Yeah, you're right. And I'm going to make sure of it." So walks off, and Sugars and Osiris are like, "What does he mean by that?" So what could happen? What is the fate of DarkState? We'll see. Does Dion get involved in a match on Saturday? Does he cost someone? Does he show up next Tuesday? Does he? Who knows?
You know what this overbooked 4-way for the title needs? It needs another person involved.
Yeah, puts Dion Lennox in it.
Yeah.
I feel like we should break Dion, maybe try as a solo act and then keep the tag team of Osiris and Sugars is possibly what I would do. But I don't know. Like, again, they're not all bad. They're decent, but it's just this gimmick is what's been like maybe hurting them. So
I would say recently, like Osiris has been the one I've been enjoying the most because he's very good in his matches in sort of putting over his size.
He's big. Yeah, they're all like, again, they're all fine. Like maybe a gimmick change. We see in NXT, Uriah, the Birthright stuff, maybe changing what you've been doing can, I don't know. Have we talked about Luca Crucifino on upNXT yet?
I think we did in person, maybe. Listen, he's trying something.
Okay, whoever watches Evolve on Tubi, which
could be nobody.
Okay, I love Tubi, by the way. The Departed's on Tubi. I saw yesterday. I'm like, that movie's not even on Netflix. So Tubi's lit. I'll never bash a free streaming service, and especially if there's wrestling on a free streaming service. But Luca Crucifino, who used to be, if you remember, Tony D'Angelo's lawyer, is on Evolve doing what I can only describe as a raver fuckboy gimmick on Tubi. And I don't know, you got to see it to believe it. But many people have been sending me this for the last 2 weeks of these promos from Luca Crucifino. So just wait till he shows up on NXT TV. I cannot wait. But damn, if you walked into your court case and that was your lawyer, dude, you losing. You are not winning with that guy.
The one thing I worry is that like is Evolve this sort of like demotion where it's like we're gonna hear about this new gimmick and then like 2 months from now we're just gonna hear, oh yeah, he got released.
No, this is gonna take him all the way to the top.
And I do have an appreciation for free streamers, but my number one is still Pluto because they have Bar Rescue on there. They have the entire catalog of Bar Rescues. So.
Is Pluto Canada exclusive? I think so. I don't think that's an American thing.
I'm not sure.
Americans probably got some other free ones, but I do love my Tubi. They got a lot of like foreign horror movies and stuff on there. It's good.
Okay.
But,
and Evolve.
And Evolve. and everything evolves. So, yeah. We go to our next match. Jada Parker taking on Kehlani Jordan. These two have been at each other's throat the last few weeks, so this is what sets this up. Jada changed her music not like recently. This isn't the first time we're hearing this new one, but it sounds like it kind of has the chance now in the theme, a bit different from her original theme here, but still a lively song and everything. So, yeah, I think it fits her as well. Booker T asks Vic Joseph if he's seen the movie Once Bitten. Jack, have you seen the movie Once Bitten? Do you know what that movie is?
No.
Okay. I think it's a Jim Carrey movie, but like when he was like really like 1985, so he wasn't famous yet. And it's a pretty like, I'm gonna say not my favorite Jim Carrey movie, but
where was Booker going with this?
I don't know, but he was talking about
many such cases,
bitten and vampires and stuff. So he says that he's asking him about if he's seen this, and Vic is like, can we get back to the match? And I'm trying to remember if the movie is about like vampires and drinking blood of male virgins or something. So I don't know if Booker T was calling Vic a virgin, but he could have been in this case, or Booker T is saying that he is a vampire himself. Maybe I don't know, but
maybe he was just really curious to pick Vic Joseph's brain about the movies he's seen.
Imagine he's just doing commentary for a match. He's like, "Yo, Vic, you ever seen Ace Ventura?" It's like, what? Can we get back to the match? I don't know. Kehlani is on the attack as this match starts, and she's just beating down on Jada with some strikes. She's being real mean and nasty here, but then Jada fights back and then bullies her literally with a bully choke, very John Moxley style here, locking in this side headlock and like grinding on her here. Kehlani starts to fight back, and Jada blocks some of her moves and sets her up in the corner. When Booker T on one again goes giggity, giggity, giggity as Quagmire, and Jada does the ass drop, the teardrop attack, and does the high step. And the crowd are now doing it too with her, like the high step. So it's super over here with the New York crowd. Eventually, though, Kehlani gets like a wrist lock. We saw her do this with the feud with Lola, and then some really cool leg takedowns, RVD style, and then a frog splash, very RVD style, for a 2 count. Jada hits this nice looking avalanche German for like a 2 count, but this was real nasty. Had to rewind it. It was awesome off the top, and then connects with the hypnotic, and then the deja vu, which is her new finish. I think we have seen her do this, which is basically like the lowdown, like a sit out spine buster. The A Train called it the derailer, I think, but maybe he's the one who gave it to her. But a new finisher here as Jada gets the win over Kehlani Jordan. But as Booker yells, "Don't sleep on Miss Parker." But I love the new finish. I could not stand the hypnotic as the move. I mean, I love hypnotic and a little Hennessy together, but I don't like it as a finishing move. And finally, she has something that looks devastating. So I think that's a plus for Jada Parker.
Yeah. I don't know where they're going direction-wise with this feud between these two, and they're still carrying it on, which we see later in the show. But this was a fun match. I mean, they're both very fun wrestlers, and it was shown in this performance.
I feel like these two are both someone like they could be the NXT Women's Champion in like a few months if there's, or they could easily be called up. Like I think at the same time, I think both have definitely stepped up in the last year, and especially the last few months, where I don't know if they necessarily stick around or we wait and then they're pushed to the next upper echelon of like, if we have a babyface champion coming out of Stand and Deliver, you could easily have, I guess Kehlani's been losing lately, so maybe not her as a potential challenger, but I'm not sure. But there's so many people on the women's roster that we could easily still shuffle into other spots. And I think these two are definitely high on that totem pole. But
I think if JC drops the belt at Stand and Deliver, it opens things up in a way which we haven't seen in a long time. And really anyone at that point can be, pushed into the title picture, including these two. And I would totally be fine with either of them getting that opportunity.
Yeah. I see someone in the chat. R. Livy says, nobody has mentioned Once Bitten in decades except Booker T. Next up from Booker, A Vampire's Kiss shout out. Yes. I think that's Nicolas Cage. Maybe a better movie than Once Bitten. What's your favorite Jim Carrey movie? You're so young. You're going to say like Sonic or something. You were like Mr. Popper's Penguins.
Are you realizing that we're becoming Booker T and Vic Joseph?
Which, have you seen Once Bitten, Vic? And he's like, what are you talking about? We're going to review that movie.
Once Bitten. Yeah. Coming soon to the Poisonrana Patreon.
It's literally like I love me some Jim. Come on, Scarborough, Toronto legend, Jim Carrey. But like I can't say that's a good one, to be honest. I don't like that movie. But yeah, I love all his other stuff. But yeah, we see Vanity Project backstage. They're walking with their titles. And we see them staring at someone, and they go, oh man, she's so hot. And the camera pans to Blake Monroe with the North American Championship, but it's not hers, it's Tatum. They say, hey, Blake, looking good with the gold. We match. So they start to like schmoz on her. They go, hey, you better be careful because New York City is not safe. You got to be careful. So, hey, maybe let us know if you want us to like hang out with you in your dressing room in case, Tatum tries to attack you or anything. And she basically she doesn't tell them to fuck off, but she also doesn't like necessarily be friendly with them. Like I was kind of wondering where they were. I thought
there wasn't much of a punchline here because she was just kind of like, no, I'm okay.
Yeah, it was
and they weren't even they weren't even really offended. They were just like they just went back to fawning over her.
I felt like there was you could have ended this better. Of like maybe she just is okay with these losers because like they're just like. Drooling over her essentially.
I think you could just skip this totally.
Probably, yeah. I don't know what this purpose. I don't know what this did.
But they're all in the building, I guess.
I'm glad you felt that way because I was like, what was the purpose of this? Yeah.
Yeah.
We go to the contract signing. You know what? Most matches, when it's a contract signing, they have two people sitting across a table. But this is NXT, so we have two tables with two people at each table sitting beside each other. For a contract signing here on NXT. We have the NXT champion, Joe Hendry, come out. We have Ethan Page, Ricky Saints, and Tony D'Angelo, the three challengers here. And Joe Hendry kind of interrupts the like wisecracking early of Ricky and Ethan and says, I really can't wait to see which one of you stabs the other in the back first. And they kind of look at each other like, no, we wouldn't do that. What? We're not going to do that. And he goes, yes, everyone can see that you two are desperate, but I'm the champion. Everyone believes because I have the passion and I will be the one to stand and I'll be the one delivering. And this is when Ricky, my favorite line of the night, maybe for better or for worse, bing bong, shut up is what he says to Joe Hendry. And he goes, what are you, Dr. Phil? Why don't you stick to singing your songs? Ethan then chimes in and goes, Ricky, I'm going to be a two-time champion. So they start to bicker of who's going to be champion. When finally Tony yells and says, enough, and says, Ricky, you're absolutely underwhelming failure since coming to NXT. Damn, Ricky. And says, and same with you, Ethan. I don't want to get in your way, but if you get in my way, I will take you out like I have before. And Joe, I ain't got no quarrels with you. I just want that title, and says, I'm going to run all of you over on Saturday, and then signs a contract and then attacks Ricky as Ethan attacks Joe. There's two slams through different tables, and then it's kind of Tony and Ethan kind of standing tall there and fighting. But yeah, it's a contract signing. So of course people went through the tables here, but Jack, who's walking out? NXT champion Saturday night.
I don't know. I mean, we're going to get to our predictions later, but it's a tough one. I actually don't know what direction they're going to go with this one. Just to talk about the contract signing real quick, just off the bat, did everyone actually sign the contract this time? Like, I feel like I saw they did. Okay. I thought this segment looked really bad on Tony D'Angelo. I thought he came off as just fourth wheeling what was a much more interesting storyline between Page and Saints and Hendry. I think that what's a testament to this is the fact that when he cut off the bickering between those two, some people in the crowd actually started to boo. They were almost like upset that he interjected in the conversation. And then later in his promo, D'Angelo was getting what chance? Never a good sign. And it just kind of feels like we have this interesting dynamic to look forward to where we know someone's going to turn against the other one and stab one in the back during the match, and we don't know who it's going to be. And D'Angelo's story is just that, yeah, I think I'm going to win. And it just, to me, it's not interesting.
Like, I think what they were trying to do here is like they've been doing the whole vigilante, if you want to say Crow era Tony D Sting kind of thing, where he's like, he's being all quiet during this thing and then just yells and then says, no, I'm going to crush all of you. And then literally fights and everything. So they're going that route, like say less kind of thing, like, you know, talk less and more action kind of thing. But I think Ethan and Ricky have overshadowed with the story of like those two, because they have been, you know, minus that one. Great. Yeah, like Ethan Page has been like running this show essentially, and he is still one of the more interesting characters. So if it revolves around him, it makes sense, because he's over. Like, you do want to see probably Ethan turn on Ricky on Saturday, right? It's probably when the pop, like, they got to do something in the match. Is it going to be like Shawn and Triple H in that one triple threat with John Cena, where Shawn just stupid kicks his head off and Cena's, whoa, okay, I guess we're doing that.
Against that,
like, I feel like the story before, like, all this was to set up of like, look at the new Tony D, like how cool he is and how, you know, the silent killer and all the Bane kind of character. But he just
kind of makes the same face all the time. And
yeah, I don't know. I'm a little hot and cold. Like, there's been weeks where I'm like, okay, yeah, just this new version of Tony D, make him the champion. And then I know he had some bumps and stuff. The promo that one week wasn't great, but like, part of me is like, still go with him. But easily Ethan Page is like the star of this show, I think. Like, and the only reason Ethan Page shouldn't win is because he should show up on Monday Night Raw after Mania for other things. Like, I don't think he needs to be here anymore. But if he is going to be here, he should probably be champion again. He is definitely like crushing. So if you asked me a week, 2 weeks ago, like, Tony D's, is this story is made for him? And it still could be his match, but I'm not thinking that makes the most sense now going into it this week. But
I don't love it. One thing I didn't like also is that he at one point took a dig at Joe Hendry and said something along the lines of like, you know, I have nothing against you, but, you know, this isn't about going viral. And it's like, come on, that's what Ricky Saints did in his heel build to a match with Joe Hendry, and you're supposed to be a babyface. Like, how am I supposed to hear that and not think that you're just, you know, one of the many, you know, dickheads in this match?
Yeah. Again, they're trying to make him like the anti-hero, the cooler version of Tony D. And I don't know, like, there was time I thought it was going to work, but I'm not necessarily, because it'd be surprised. Again, a 4-way match, like NXT, I think just in wrestling in general, in 2026, 4-way or multi-person matches, they got them down pat. Like, they know how to do all the different storytellings with different people, and it makes for pretty entertaining matches. And especially in NXT, 4-way matches, I think of the one at Heatwave a year or two ago, like, just 4-way matches or multi-matches have been pretty fun. So I do hope this delivers on Saturday. But
yeah,
we shall see. We go to a big matchup, and I say big because it's something
literally
we do here, Jack. Is called Big Lads Wrestling, because that's what this is. Some hosses. Jasper Troy versus Keanu Carver. Let's fucking go. Is that the name of the show they're both from? Right?
They are from Let's Fucking Go on A&E.
Right. Fuck around and find out. So to make things even bigger, Josh Briggs is the ref. He's pretty big, yes. I guess, right? He's pretty big. So Jasper Troy's got a new entrance. It's kind of like, you know, when Javon Evans comes out and he shakes the camera and then the screen like has that like glass thing. So Jasper's got one where he's like supposed to throw his chains, but I think the effect played on the wrong time. Like, I think he threw the chains and then the camera focused on when he was just like walking, because it didn't look impressive. It didn't look scary or whatever it was looking. So maybe just a tiny little attention to detail, because I feel like they maybe messed that up. But hey, it's something. But Big Lads Wrestling. Keanu attacks Jasper here. This match set up because Keanu's been talking shit about Booker T, or Booker T, I guess, was talking shit about everyone. So Keanu's like, yeah, well, I'll fight your guy. So Jasper's gimmick is he's Booker's guy. So Keanu attacks him here, beats him up, goes to the ringside area and they're brawling, and then starts to attack a fan. This is a lawsuit here. Someone called Luca Crucifino. He attacks a fan here who suspiciously looked a lot like one of those jobber cops. Then he threatens to beat up Vic. He threatens to beat up Booker. He's going crazy here. But then Jasper starts to fight back. He slams Keanu through the commentary desk with a choke slam and then rolls him back in the ring and hits a huge bossman slam on Keanu. Briggs counts the 1, 2, but Keanu kicks out. Jasper's a little upset, so Briggs kind of shoves Jasper a little bit, which allows Keanu to hit the pounce, period, to Jasper, and then a huge power slam on Troy for the 1, 2, 3. And I say huge. Okay, Keanu's used this like power slam. It's like, the Davey Boy power slam kind of thing. But when he does it on Troy, it looked a lot more impressive because Jasper's like a bigger guy, and he hoisted him up like nothing on his shoulders there. So I will say this was the best that power slam has looked, and the best Keanu has looked, and dare I say Jasper Troy as well. Like I think they all played their part. This was a monster match as we've seen, and like we were explaining, like Oba and Brock needs to be just all the classics, like the commentary desk, the ringside thing that always breaks, all the classics of these like car crash matches. And I think for the most part, these two did a fine job doing this. I thought on it. I was definitely thinking this was going to suck. So really? I was pleasantly surprised. I'm not saying this was, the best match I've ever seen, but this was pretty fun for what it was. It didn't outstay its welcome. And I thought Keanu came up across as like a bit of a monster with that slam. So
I've personally really been enjoying this rivalry between these two, and I'm big on Carver. He's been really fun, and I thought was showcased really well here. Jasper Troy was awesome in his role. The fact that this was short, I think, especially since it's building to another match between now these three, I think it's good that this was short. You got your highlights in, but you didn't see something that would make it too cyclical to see it a second time around. I thought it was interesting that the crowd didn't seem too engaged in this one. I don't know if it just came during a dead point in the show or whatever, but I was kind of surprised to see how it wasn't received too incredibly well. Like they got some chants during the match, but the angle with Briggs afterward didn't really get much of a reaction. I think it's interesting that like you see a lot of these rivalries that happen, week after week in front of the same crowd in the PC. And then you take it somewhere else, and you do. It's a different market, a different crowd. It's not the same regulars. It's a bigger crowd, a bigger sample size. Sometimes you do get a different reaction, and I think that's what we saw here.
Like I definitely think Troy is not necessarily a well-known character yet, or at least well-loved. But again, I think the story here was Carver more so, like getting how strong he was, crushing him. But yeah,
one
afterwards,
thing I do also think about is like when we're taping these shows on the road, like how much of the crowd is actually watching NXT every week versus like, oh, there's wrestling on tonight, it's WWE, let's go see it. Like I feel like there's a certain level of the crowd that isn't following Keanu Carver versus Jasper Troy.
Like I feel like NXT, if you're going to, you might be a bit more of a diehard, like you might know what's going on, or like, hey, it's just wrestling and whatever. But
yeah, I don't know.
Some people cherry pick and just watch the PLEs. Like that's something that definitely happens with NXT as well. But yeah, I feel like this is the right. So after the match, Briggs attacks Keanu, lariats him, and stands tall. And then later, what does he say to Stone? There's a match announcement for next week where he wants Keanu, but then Stone says that it's a triple threat.
Yeah, it's gonna be a triple threat next week on TV. Carver got attacked because he insisted that his hand be raised after the match.
Yes.
Briggs tried leaving the ring, and he grabbed him and went, "No, come back here. You gotta acknowledge me."
So we kind of thought last week that this was where we were going, but maybe for Saturday. But instead, it's just next week on NXT. So at least we have something to look forward to for the Stand and Deliver hangover on Tuesday night. So
yeah, I think it's great. I mean, this is not the biggest angle in the world, and Carver and Troy are still really green. I mean, I don't think Troy has wrestled a match that's gone longer than 5 minutes.
Right.
So,
well, no, we had the 7-minute triple threat.
Right,
how could you forget?
Yeah. The special speed match that happened once. So, I think this should stay on TV, but I've been enjoying it.
I want to see Carver power slam both of them at the same time next week. Yeah, that's what I want to see. We go backstage. Sean Legacy sitting on the couch injured. Elio LaFleur sitting on the couch injured. Eli Knight suspiciously doesn't look injured, even though I swear that was the angle too. Hank and Tank are there. They're not injured. They just choose to wear Cheetos-inspired jerseys. And they all say they're all on the mend. They're healing up. And Hank says they're so sad they lost to the Birthright and they're not going to have their stand and deliver moment. And then Elio says that he is seriously injured and he's torn some ligaments in his shoulder, his arm, his elbow. And he says that 6 months recovery time here. So he relinquishes the speed title and says that Mr. Stone is announcing, you guessed it, another speed tournament for the vacant speed title. And he's pretty sad. Ren is there. She's pretty like, hey, don't worry about it. As speed champion too, like, you got this. You'll come back better than ever. It's all very somber. When Shiloh Hill comes in, smiling, laughing, and he goes, you guys, you see what's going on? And they're like, hey, man, like, we appreciate you, but like, we're sad because a lot of us aren't going to be on Stand and Deliver. And Shiloh says, I got an idea, and walks off to go find Stone. So I assume the idea is, hey, maybe we add another match. And they do, but it's at least on a kickoff on Saturday. But yeah.
Shiloh Hill had the crazy idea of asking for a match.
Right. No one does that apparently in wrestling.
I mean, the headline coming out of this is that Elio LaFleur's out for 6 months.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Brutal because I mean, he was just getting started, and he was in the few matches we saw him in, he was fun. And he also loses the WWE Speed title, which every kid grows up wanting to have one day, and it's heartbreaking that he has to part with it this way. So
yeah, I feel like this sucks. 6 months, like he just got here, and he did showcase some great talent, and it sucks, but I'm sure when he comes back, he'll be. But I hope in the 6 months he heals up great, because I thought from what we saw he was awesome. But I also hope in the 6 months that he gets some better gear made, because he still looks like he's wrestling on the indies. But I want to see him back, and hopefully he comes back better than ever. So we'll see who the next speed. Maybe Eli gets the title, right? That was the whole thing where he pinned Jasper, but it was Eli who hit the move. So that's why he kind of said sorry. He's like, remember, I kind of stole this from you anyways, but now I'm not even allowed to wrestle. So
you're saying that you're looking forward to the next speed tournament? Is that what you're saying?
I take that back. I don't know. I actually don't know. Bring back the Heritage Cup. I've always loved rounds matches. Bring them back.
Stax is still acknowledged on the WWE site as the current Heritage Cup champion.
What? But it's in the bottom of the Orlando River or whatever. What ocean? Atlantic?
Apparently it's still an active title or a trophy or whatever, but it's
heritage. It's a Heritage Cup moment. Tatum Paxley comes out to the ring. She has a microphone. They announce her as Women's North American Champion, but you'll notice she doesn't have the title because Blake stole it. She says Blake Monroe is a complex person. So Blake, come on out here and let's play. She wants a face-to-face with Blake. So Blake comes out with the championship that is not hers. She says, Tater, darling, don't you see that this title in me just feels right? And this is the title I never lost in the first place. Okay, we need to pause for a sec, because now we're talking about this again. The title that you never lost, because kayfabe-wise, Thea Hale pinned you off like a headlock or something.
Yeah, we're kind of breaking the fourth wall here.
Here you're saying you never lost it in the first place, but we all watched the ref count the 3 count off like that side headlock, and you lost. So they once again are telling you this shit is rigged. This is all fake. They're phonies.
Blake Monroe was cutting a promo in storyline going, and I lost the title because she started shooting on me.
she shot on me. She was an Orlando screw job. I wasn't meant to. Like, what? I know, like, I get they're trying to weave in that stuff, but I'm sure that this just goes over a lot of people's heads anyways. But like, it's just funny that
in storyline it makes no sense.
Yeah, in storyline, and the problem is Like, it's been so long that they haven't referenced it, and then now again they have to slide that in yet again. Like, oh, I never lost this
if
belt.
she just said, I think the title looks better on me, I would have been like, okay.
She does say that. I think if she said like, oh, like I had my hands on it and it slipped away, but I want it back, or like anything.
Yeah, that would have been
anything. I felt like they purposely have gone out of their way to say these little things, when in reality, she didn't kick out of a pin. She lost. That is what these matches are. So like, it's just funny. Nitpicking here, but still. She says that the title does look better on me, and I never lost it in the first place. Tatum says that, well, it's actually mine, and if you want it so bad, then maybe you should challenge me at Stand and Deliver. And Blake is shocked, like, no, I don't want to wrestle. I'm not putting up my title. She says, I'm a bigger star than you. It looks better on me. Hell, the CW named a martini after me, she says as well.
I didn't catch that reference, but whatever.
So I know that yesterday some of the wrestlers were posting that they were in New York City and everything. And I was trying to look up what Sol Ruca and some of these wrestlers were posting. So I don't know if this was at like a CW party or if this was at MSG, but I have a drink menu here that some of the wrestlers posted. So let me read you. I wish Davie was here because we do our own wrestling drink
specials. This is right
specials.
out of Poisonrana's playbook.
Yeah. If you've ever been to our events or follow us on our socials, you know that we, and especially Davie being the bartender, love wrestling drink menus. So I have here the NXT CW drink cocktail. Are you ready for this? The JC juice, white rum, lemon, orange juice, and simple syrup and Prosecco. That sounds good.
Ooh.
Okay. The Saints Spritz, Prosecco, elderflower, cucumber, sparkling water spritz. The Sneaky Tony, a Long Island iced tea. Nice. The Hendry Highball, electric iced tea. I guess because he's blonde. The Soul Snatcher, which I believe Davie has a drink named that. But theirs is gin, lemon, and Prosecco. And then the Blake After Dark, which is an espresso martini. So really,
this wasn't the one that had any like flair.
Yeah, yours is just like an espresso martini. They just like named it something else. But anyways, I'm not trying.
I would get this. I would get the what was the first one there? It was the
Spritz, Soul Snatcher, the JC Juice.
I would get the JC
Juice. I don't know.
That was the most appealing sounding one. Yeah.
I get the Sneaky Tony.
I'm sipping on a Sneaky Tony right now.
Sipping on a Sneaky Tony. Yeah, I give them A for effort because I love this kind of this shit. Yeah, I love like drink menus and stuff. But again, follow us on @Poisonrana Pod on Insta to see some of our past menu drinks, and we will have a pretty nice drink menu. We love the Royal Rumble. So for $5 or $7 or something, you get a mystery shot, and it's like a Rumble. You don't know who it could be. It could be, it could be a mid card, like a decent tequila. It could be a fancy, comedy gimmick, like a fruity shot, or it could be like a world champion caliber, like a Grey Goose or something, Johnny Walker or something. You don't know.
So Braden Herrington had to do some investigation work to catch all the references in this segment here, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely. I saw them post yesterday, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was, but I think it would have made sense if you maybe saw her drinking the martini in the segment with Vanity Project. That maybe would have helped explain what was happening here. But she says the CW named a martini after me, and I guess everyone in the crowd, maybe they were serving it there. I'm not sure. Do they serve drinks at the MSG Theatre?
I would imagine so. It looks like a classy operation.
Classy joint. Yeah. Classy joint there at MSG. She says that she also has a great hotel room with a great view. And Tatum, let's be honest, you look more like you'd belong in the crowd with these dirty New Yorkers. And she says that I don't really want to face you because this title's mine. And Tatum says, well, no, it's actually not. But I'll be the goth to your glamour, and I'll be the fire to your hell. So give back what belongs to me. And then they start to pull and fight over the title. And somehow Blake still walks out with the title here. But it sounds this is a match.
The way this ended was kind of made Paxley look dumb. I mean, so she knocks JC Jane out of the ring with a Pele kick, and Jane falls to the floor. No, not Jane. Sorry, Monroe falls to the floor. Monroe gets up and then takes the title from the ring and leaves. And it's like, so you get knocked out of the ring by a head kick and you are still the first one to the title, which is what this entire segment was about. It was
weird.
I thought that was weird. But other than that, I thought I didn't mind the segment.
I'm still like, I like Blake Monroe. I like Mariah May, but I'm still not loving this NXT version of her. I find it a little boring. Like, I find it is repetitive of, oh, I'm glamour, I'm hot, and you're not, essentially, is this story. And it's kind of been that every feud so far in her wrestling career, I guess, really. Like, I know she can get to the next level. Like, we've seen it in the stuff, but still like, I didn't like I didn't like this, to be honest. I'm not loving I like where Tatum has gotten to at this level in NXT, but I thought the last feud was pretty boring, and the same goes with Blake. So I hope we can get something good out of it. It is official now. So a singles match for the women's North American title. And maybe that's it too. Like, I was hoping for some sort of multi-women. Now, okay, I know we have lots of multi-person matches on this show already, but there's so many other women that could, be on this show too, in like a ladder match or something. But I hope these two can put on a good match. And honestly, after this, I feel like Blake's winning. I feel like the title is going back to her, which is probably a mistake too. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think it's this is just another one of those matches that has suffered from a short build that has really lacked any substance. This has been built around the title being stolen and Paxley sort of giving away a title shot because the title was stolen. Which also doesn't make her seem too wise. But I mean, in their defense, that has been sort of a part of her character, is that she is very generous and selfless, and very much to her. It comes back to bite her at times. So I'll give them some slack there. But yeah, I mean, this has been something they've thrown together over the past couple weeks, and it hasn't been that enticing because of that. So
it's a classic trope in wrestling, the stolen title. Like, I kind of don't like that. They do that every once in a while. It's pretty lazy. But Stone is backstage, and he is talking with Shiloh Hill there, and he's mentioning that he has created another match for Saturday, but it will be on the kickoff, and it is a 10-person mixed tag team match. The Birthright, King, Stax, Dempsey, Connors, and Ariana Grace versus Eli Knight, Shiloh Hill, Hank and Tank, and Ren Sinclair. Wow. 10 more people on the show, on the kickoff. But hey, it's all on YouTube anyways, okay? So what does it matter if it starts at 6:30 or 7, okay?
I thought it was interesting that they're doing a kickoff match, because I think for a while they weren't doing any matches on the kickoff shows.
No, they haven't.
And that's been a thing for a long time with the main roster WWE events. But I remember even for a while, like when WWE stopped doing kickoff matches, NXT still kind of did some for a while. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
Like, I feel like we haven't in a while with WWE in general, but I feel like, we haven't had a kickoff. I don't know, but it's good. Like, you're doing this this is going to be not in the Performance Center, right? This is going to be in St. Louis in this little arena. So like, or venue that, hey, like, why not let these people get on the card and a warm-up match? Like, it's good. Like, there was dark matches tonight on NXT that we didn't see. Like, it still is always good to have these kinds of things. So yeah, get everyone on the card. Why not?
Give them their stand and deliver moment.
Exactly. Oh, look, you're even saying it. It's great. Stand and deliver moments.
Let them stand and deliver.
Yeah. How many times did so many people say that in their promos? Tonight alone, so many people. I'm going to stand and deliver. It's like, fuck. All right. I miss TakeOver, to be honest. I know it's dead and gone. I know, but still, I miss it. This is where Keanu came in and said, I want Briggs. And then he says, well, Troy isn't ready. So done with you. So it's a triple threat next Tuesday. And then in true NXT fashion, we go from one thing to another thing to it's what probably sounded like pipes falling in the back to two women fighting. Kehlani's got a trash can in her hand as she's beating on Jada. So this feud shall continue. I wonder if we get a rematch next Tuesday in some sort of like gimmick match or something, considering they were brawling all around the backstage area here. So what's that new 2K26 feature where you can like fight in the like backstage area? It was kind of like that here with this whole brawl, but yeah, I imagine this gets announced for next week.
Yeah, I should be fun. Robert Stone, I think, has the most chaotic show out of the 3 general managers. He is the most stressed, and that's saying something because that's kind of Adam Pearce's entire character right now.
Right. He loves the chaos. That's his whole gimmick here. Is he loves the chaoticness of NXT Degrassi High. We get a video package for Zarya and Sol Ruca, the big grudge match this Saturday night. We see all the way from the beginning when Sol Ruca is in NXT, Zarya coming into NXT. You know, watching this, it kind of doesn't make sense. Sol Ruca is this like chill surfer chick. And then you have Zarya, who it shows she's like this big, like Marvel cinematic villain, Mad Max type shit. And then, hey, we're friends and we do TikToks. And then here we see them eating cupcakes and shit. And I'm like, what? What happened? Maybe you needed to do this, Zarya. We see the whole story of Zaruka, the matches, the wrestling, the TikToks, everything, the big attack and the big buildup for this weekend. But I think out of everything, you know, the most built match is probably this one. It's had months of story of these two teasing the breakup and then finally pulling the trigger. So out of everything on this show, this is the one match I think you could see coming months ago. So
this might have been the only match that a month out from Stand and Deliver they probably had pinned as being on the card. Everything else kind of seems like it was thrown together over the past couple of weeks.
100%.
Yeah, this one actually has some long-term storytelling to it, even like you said, if it is a little disjointed at times. But I mean that the plot holes in Zaruka have been there from the start, and people have been picking those out from the start. So
yeah, well, Zaruka is not fine. We see JC Jane and Fatal Influence watching this video, and JC with the title, and she goes, "Oh, I'm so glad I don't have to be tied up with those two lunatics." And for some reason, Izzy is there as well. I guess she's just hanging out with Fatal, and she kind of mouths off at JC like, "Oh, you're the champion for now, and like you do have your hands full because you're gonna have a match this weekend." So
yeah, it's like who are you talking to?
Yeah,
you are not even close to the title picture right now.
Get out of here, Izzy. What's going on with
crazy.
That bullshit. We see Kendal Grey getting ready. Lola Vice, their match next, the main event, number 1 contenders for the women's championship. You know, something in NXT I love is bootleg NXT t-shirts, and Ren Sinclair with the I Heart Ren QCC t-shirt, the homemade NXT merchandise. It goes way back to Sasha Banks days, and I love it. So Ren with the I Heart NQCC, Ren QCC. Sell it on WWE Shop, you cowards.
By the way, I just want to highlight that I think it's hilarious that Ren QCC has outlived NQCC.
Yes.
And now, like, if someone started watching NXT this week and they saw that and they asked, like, why is it called Ren QCC? You have to go, well, there was this faction that used to exist and, like, they're not gone anymore, but, like, she was in it at one point. Now she likes it, so she uses the name. And
yeah, they could just, like, Charlie's gone now. So, like,
yeah, but Ren QCC is a fun name. Like, I like that they kept it.
Well, they're Rendell. Like Rendell is their ship name, but okay. Ren QCC.
The way that Ren QCC doesn't really make sense or work, I kind of like.
Yeah, we love. I told you I like bootleg NXT shirts, but we also love bootleg NXT stables in NXT, and that goes back. Shout out Diamond Mine and the money making fighting Legionnaires. Kendal Grey versus Lola Vice. Winner faces JC Jane at Stand and Deliver, or do they? Kendal with the flames gear, like all this fire. So Booker T is like, it reminds me of Harlem Heat. Yeah, baby. He's on Team Kendal Grey here tonight. Kendal is doing some very impressive chain wrestling early on, like Kurt Angle style, which is like sliding all around the place, doing all these transitions. Lola starts to fight back, though, with a series of kicks. Grey does this cartwheel escape on the apron, which was pretty impressive, but then runs back into the fiery kicks again, and then a seated senton from Lola to the outside. During picture-in-picture, Lola's in control with a suplex, some ass shaking, some submission transitions from Lola showing off here as well. She's no slouch. and then some more ass shaking. When we come back, Grey fights back with a German suplex, and then the straps go down. She's hitting, she tries to go for some suplexes, but it turns into like a cross arm breaker. And then Lola turns it into a sleeper. There's a back fist, then there's a big kick in midair, and then Fatal Influence walk out, and they start watching the match. And then this is where Kendal hits what I would call it the Judas effect, but really it's the Andrade elbow to me. And she hits it pretty nice. I guess she's been studying. Yeah. I saw Andrade since last week was like, who is this? And then since has been like, hey, this girl's pretty good. Maybe they got something with her. She's learned from studying tape of Andrade because this elbow looks great. But Lola kicks out of it. Lola starts to do more of those jumping kicks, but gets caught into an ankle lock. This looked great, where she was really struggling for the ropes here. Very Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 21 with the ropes and trying to grab it. Eventually, though, she rolls Kendal up, but she kicks out. There is then a guillotine where Lola is wrapped around Grey, and Grey is struggling to get out of this and struggling, but then lifts Lola up into a Northern Lights bridge suplex. And as the referee counts 3, Kendal taps out on the other side. So the ref says Kendal Grey has pinned Lola Vice and won, when the other ref runs in and says, no, Kendal tapped out. Therefore, they don't know what to do because they don't know who the real winner is. So Shawn Michaels comes out. I thought he was going to tear his quads for a second here. I was nervous. Runs out. He doesn't know who the winner is because both of them are the winner. So they start to argue, and he goes, no, we have to have a winner. We don't know what to do. And NXT,
and that's it,
goes off the air.
I hated this. I genuinely hated this.
Okay. The plus is I thought the match was great. I thought Lola and Kendal were doing some great wrestling. Like I really do. These are two of my favorite women on NXT. So I was really looking forward to this match, and I thought they really delivered. Like some of the wrestling and the transitions and everything, like, really killed it.
I would say that the way Lola Vice has made a moveset that really calls back to her MMA skills, but also just makes her still like a complete pro wrestler has been really fun. And Kendal Grey has just been amazing. I mean, all her matches have impressed me so far. And this was just another one where the transitions that these two had at points was really exciting. And, it felt like up until the finish, the best match on the card by like a mile.
This was the best match of the show for sure. But yeah, there was some great wrestling there. And
I see someone at times.
RYN in the chat, I see you. He says, I had no clue they Kurt Angled Kendal Grey's whole character, which she does the straps down, she does the ankle lock, awesome. Like she's doing literally all the stuff, but it totally works. Like she has stepped up, and she's come out of nowhere, like a ace up the sleeve, Kendal Grey here in WWE and NXT. But Lola stepped up to her level. Actually, as the match started, Kendal was literally wrestling circles around her, doing like the Kurt Angle stuff, like the transitions and stuff. And I was like, damn, I don't know if Lola can keep up, but she did. I thought she totally did with all these submissions and everything. I could be wrong, but did Kendal tap out before the 3 count, or did the 3 count? Yeah. Okay. So they're definitely like toying with, well, wait, Kendal tapped out, and it's like, well, but she didn't. So I don't know.
So there was a tap she did. There was a tap she did about like maybe 20 seconds before the finish.
Yes.
It was a half-hearted tap. It was like two taps on like the leg or something. And commentary didn't acknowledge it. What's interesting is when this finish happened and they mentioned the tap, at first I thought they were talking about that one, because the tap from the pin attempt, the cameras actually didn't catch it at first. They showed it on the replay a million times, and it was clear on the replay, but they just showed the wrong angle on the live feed, and you didn't really see it happen live. So yeah, I mean, they kind of messed up.
All right, I'm watching it back now. It looks pretty on point, where it's like if the ref didn't see her tap on that side, it's just okay. We're literally still recording that. It's still Tuesday night, and they have not announced. I'm assuming it's a triple threat. Let's just go with.
Can I just say, first of all, so she had the wherewithal to lift her up for a pin and go for the pin. and
still tap out.
Get the 3, and she tapped out during it. Like, to me, this just makes no sense. And like, it doesn't make sense as in the character looks dumb. It makes no sense as in this looks so bad that I can't even keep my suspension of disbelief intact. Like, this looks like bad TV.
I really like the wrestling, and I think that it sucks when you hype up a big match especially we already have like the multi-man match for the men's title. So it's like, okay, we've mentioned there's definitely some factors going into this. We want to get the most amount of people on the one big show they do a year. It makes sense. It's just you set it up this way to make it feel like it is a singles match. I actually like both of these two, so I'm actually really happy that it's a triple threat match. I just think how we got here is very lazy. And again, like, broken record of not just NXT, of it does every week seems thrown together. It seems a little chaotic and hectic because it does seem like it's shit thrown at a wall and maybe coming up with loose ends here and there. And that's how I feel about creative of WWE, is just on a down for me. I don't find anything that inspiring or interesting. And I feel like NXT, at least this match was awesome, that it makes me go, oh wow, I want to see both of these two. And then it is. So I'm looking at the diamond in the rough. They're like, okay, at least we're getting what should be an awesome match on Saturday, but it still is like,
frustrating thing about this match.
It's frustrating.
The frustrating thing about this match is that the thing that dragged it down really has nothing to do with either of these performers. That this was a booking decision that someone else made in the writer's room, and there was no way they could have played this out in the ring. The thing that was written out for this show, there's no way they could have done this and it not look stupid. So, I don't blame either Lola or Grey for this. They were just, playing the cards they were dealt in terms of the booking. They had a great match, but I thought the finish was terrible. And I thought the fact that this show went off air without one of your main titles, which has a match on Saturday, without the fate of that title actually even being announced, I just think that's bad promoting, and it's bad TV. Like, the cliffhanger is, I'm going to tune in Saturday and find out, or I'm going to be glued to your social media page. Like, to me, that's way less exciting.
I guess it's like you got to find out by following along, because maybe in the next few days we'll tell you what the match is. But I don't know.
The fun reveal is that I'm going to check Twitter and find out. Is that the fun reveal? It's
like, what if it was JC interfering? But then, like, why would she, if she knows that would make her face both of them? So I don't know. We got a cool match out of it. It just,
we did.
In a weird way. I keep using that word weird because that's just NXT lately, but not the strongest way to get to the triple threat. But hey, if it's any indication of what we saw here between these two, now add JC into the mix. Again, I'm just assuming it's a triple threat. It should be a really good match, hopefully, on Saturday. So I'll give benefit. I thought Kendal Grey and Lola really knocked it out the park. Like, NXT is always a bumpy watch for me, but at least I got some solid wrestling out of it. And then, the classic schmoz of, oh, we're doing this. Okay, cool.
The 10 seconds where I thought Kendal Grey had won the match clean and was advancing, I was overjoyed. I thought,
right, yeah,
they're giving her a meaningful win here, and they're pushing her into a huge match. And on top of that, she had a great performance to get into that match. And the finish took a lot away from it. But like you said, silver lining, if this is going to be a three-way, and if they don't do it that way, I think a lot of people would be upset. So if this is going to be a three-way, it should be a good match.
Okay, but what if we make it a four-way? Add Sexy Red. There you go. New champ.
Okay.
Make it sexy. Make NXT sexy again. So there you go. That was NXT, the go-home show for Stand and Deliver this weekend. We're assuming it's a triple threat. I think that makes the most sense. There again, NXT is sometimes a difficult watch, but there is some good stuff up and down. And I thought there was some fun wrestling on the show.
They booked Stand and Deliver like they were told last week that Stand and Deliver is this week.
Yeah, that's definitely how it feels, except Soul and Zarya. Like, clearly that was something we knew, but
like, we all knew Stand and Deliver was coming, right?
Did Sean? I don't know if he did.
We saw like 4 matches were booked today for Stand and Deliver. Stand and Deliver is in like 4 days.
Yeah. It's just not, it's just not what it used to be. These old Stand and Delivers. It sounds weird even saying that, because Stand and Delivers weren't necessarily like the most.
I mentioned it earlier in the show, but there's just this frustrating sort of huge distance between the quality of what I think a lot of these matches on Stand and Deliver could be, and how these matches were put together, and the pacing of these storylines, and how rushed a lot of storylines were. To me, that's really frustrating, because I think we're going to watch Stand Deliver, and it'll probably be a pretty good show with some really solid matches. A lot of them have the potential to be match of the night or be a contender for that. But we're going to look back on the builds to these matches and go, yeah, this was a pretty terribly built show.
I don't know if there's a lot of interest and a lot of heat going into this. Like, I feel like you got to be a hardcore who maybe watches a little bit of everything to know this show is happening this weekend and really, be interested in it. I feel like it's not on the watch list of a lot of the common WWE fans. Do not watch this show. So
it's frustrating that they didn't put more intent into this show, because it's on a weekend where there is no real competition. It's on YouTube in America. You don't even have to sign into anything to watch this.
It's free.
This live.
It's free to watch.
You would think this is a show where they go all out. They book huge matches that they've been building for a long time, and they,
But they don't have that here in NXT. Like, we've lost all these. Right, we've lost a lot of these. But
you could have started these feuds 3 weeks ago, and that's being generous.
It still feels thrown together. That's definitely the MO of NXT in the last.
I just think that they could have done so much more with what feels like a really big, should be a really big event for the show. And
I'm watching this. Like, I see someone in the chat, RYN, thanks again. He says, I just can't wait for Ricky Saints to just go to the main roster. I feel that way about him. I feel that way about Ethan Page. I feel that way about some of the women who've, like, Jacy Jane's been champion for so long. She should lose and eventually go up there, maybe with Fallon or Laney too. I'm not sure, but post Stand and Deliver, post Mania, we should get some call-ups. I'll call for it again. Ethan Page on Monday Night Raw after Mania. Cut a promo and boom, like, dude will be over as a heel, top heel. Something, but I'm hoping this Saturday the wrestling is good, and I think it will be. I think we'll be pleasantly surprised. And I've definitely been negative with NXT in the last little while, and it definitely is a thrown together show week by week, and I think you could see that. But I'm remaining positive for this Saturday, so hopefully we get some good stuff come Saturday. All right, positive. We'll stand and deliver. Like they all said. We are going to
stand and deliver.
So quick, I'll run through what we have announced, and we can give some predictions of what's going to happen. The dark show, the dark match, the dark show, the kickoff show. You don't quite have to stand yet. You can like still sit during the kickoff. It's like sit and pregame. The Birthright in a 10-person mixed tag taking on the team of Eli Knight, Shiloh, Hank and Tank, and Ren Sinclair. I think the Birthright got to get the win here. Although your boy Shiloh Hill, I guess, get the spotlight, get the big dub.
Yeah, I just hope everybody has fun in this one. I don't know. There's no real circumstance to this one. I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like if it's a kickoff match, you probably want like the babyface team to win, but like I don't know. I don't think it really matters.
Ren, get the final wrench in.
The final wrench, yeah.
Yeah, do it. We have Vanity Project putting their tag team titles on the line. The challengers, Los Americanos, are challenging. Do we get a tag title change here?
I feel like Vanity Project, they can maybe do something funky here with the metal plates and make it come around to bite Los Americanos, or Vanity Project can cheat their way to, out cheat Los Americanos for the win here. Right. I just don't know if they want to put the titles on a main roster tag team and then sort of have that burden of having them come back down to keep this going, and then eventually figure out a way for them to drop the titles. So I don't know. I would assume Vanity Project get this win. And on top of that, Vanity Project have been doing great so far. So, I wouldn't mind them getting a little momentum here.
Absolutely. I want Vanity to retain. They've definitely been my favorites on NXT, but I think this could be a fun match. Like the four of them, we saw the trios. I'm sure we'll get some crazy stuff in this one. They'll try to go all out and do some crazy stuff, I'm sure, with their big their first Stand and Deliver, being super young and already on a show like this. So yeah, I think they'll kill it and retain, and then somehow get the North American title to Jackson Drake, and then we have the Vanity Prophecy come true. Yeah. Miles Bourne putting the North American Men's Championship on the line against Johnny Takeover, Johnny Gargano. I think I said my heart says Johnny, but I just don't think they could do that to Miles. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm sorry, Miles. Johnny Gargano. I don't see him winning it though, but I'm going to be rooting for Johnny Wrestling on Saturday. I'm going to go with my heart.
I think Miles gets the win to extend this storyline of Gargano sort of losing himself. Like you said earlier in the show, I think this is, no matter who wins, probably going to be one of the standout moments of the night.
It depends what theme song Johnny comes out to. If it's this Rebel Heart, then he's true Johnny Takeover. But if it comes out to that like remix thing he's got, then dudes ain't got a chance. He's done. He's cooked. We have JC Jane versus Kendal Grey or Lola Vice or both of them. Kendal Grey walking out women's champion. I think it
would be really fun to hot shot it on her. I mean, the title picture has been JC Jane for a long time. It's been, just her at the top, and she's done great with the title and really established herself as one of the top names in the division. But I think there's no better way to end her long time on top by just pushing a new face into the picture who, despite being very new to the title picture, is so ready for that position. It does pain me to say this because Lola Vice clearly is long overdue for that big moment.
Yeah.
Like we haven't seen that yet. But I'm just very high on Kendal Grey right now.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like I think I love Lola Vice, and I think she's definitely stepped up, but unfortunately, Kendal is just this like,
it just doesn't feel like her moment,
It doesn't feel like it yet. So I feel like down the line, Lola can still have that. I feel like she shouldn't leave NXT just yet, but she's totally stepped up too. But I do think it should be Kendal Grey. Just the characters struck, like the wrestling speaks for itself. And I feel like she's definitely caught fire and definitely should walk out as champion. And then JC can move up. I think Fatal Influence is on its last legs in NXT. The Zaruka Implodes match, the grudge match of NXT, Sol Ruka versus Zarya. Again, will we see call-ups? Will Sol Ruka lose this and just go, yeah, I'm done with NXT, and then leave? Does that leave Zarya as a big baddie in NXT? What happens here?
The entire story of this feud has been Zarya always being the bridesmaid and never the bride.
Mm-hmm.
And to tell that story and have her lose this one would really just be an indictment on the fact that the way she's been written and sort of in Sol Ruka's shadow has just not been a story, but just been how they want to book her. So I think it's clear that she has to win this one. That's the obvious choice here. And like you said, I wouldn't mind if this is Sol Ruka's swan song of sorts, because she feels main roster ready to me.
Can Zarya catch Sol Ruka upside down from the Soul Snatcher into an F5? Find out Saturday to see if they can do that. It might be a little overzealous, but I think Zarya should win too. It would make a whole lot of sense. Like if Sol is being called up, it's one of them has to be champion before leaving NXT. And I feel like maybe Sol, they see something in her already for the main roster. And I just think Zarya should crush her and beat her. And that's the story. Like, look, I did it. And I am not just the sidekick, essentially. But I don't know, Sol is popular too. But it was funny last week. We didn't get the live crowd this time around because it was just the video tonight. But last week, it seemed like Florida was like, yo, Sol, you're the bad guy in this feud. So we'll see what St. Louis thinks. But me thinks they'll be on Sol's side. So Soul Snatcher possibly happening. I don't know. But I think Zarya should win. But will she is the bigger question. Tatum Paxley putting her women's North American title on the line against Blake Monroe. We were joking earlier. Would they just go with Blake? But then does that kind of mess up what they've been doing with Tatum? And I don't know. I can't say I'm excited for this one. I hope I'm pleasantly surprised. But
yeah, no, I want Tatum to win because I've been enjoying her work recently, and I feel like she deserves a bigger push. I don't have a lot of faith that they're going in that direction. I think it's kind of a coin flip as to what they're going to do with this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Tatum. Fuck it. Let's go. Come on, Tater. retain that North American title. And then the main event, Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Championship. The champion Joe Hendry defending against Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, and Tony D'Angelo. I said earlier, like last week, a few weeks ago, it's like, okay, clearly Tony D coming in with this whole Charles Bronson gimmick of like, I'm going to be the vigilante of NXT. But then it kind of is like, it felt hot for a second and then it kind of fizzled. And then now I'm just like, nah, Ethan Page is the star. But as I also said, I don't want him on NXT. I think he would be killing it on the main roster. So how is he going to win the match? So therefore, I still think it's going to be Tony D.
I think if it is Tony D'Angelo, I'm not really high on him, and I've been critical of him. But I do think it'll really fall flat as a moment if he wins the title. But in terms of how this match gets booked and who wins, I think a lot hinges on who is getting called up. And what's tough is that we have 3 people in this match who I wouldn't be surprised if they're pinning as sort of the next in line to get called up, with Page, Saints, and Hendry. Page is really kind of a super senior in NXT at this point. Like, he is carrying the show at times, and it doesn't really feel like there's any need for him to be there anymore, other than the show kind of needs him more than he needs the show.
NXT needs him. NXT needs him, needed him at least in the last little while. But
what they're doing with those 3, especially and their careers, I think really dictates the finish here. I think, like, if we're just going generic finish, Page and Saints have some sort of issue which sort of takes them out of the winning the match here. And then that either causes Hendry to win or D'Angelo to win. I think if they want to have a big moment to end the show, they're going to have Hendry retain. Unfortunately, that would kind of undermine D'Angelo's entire rebrand and pursuit of the title recently. But also, like I said before, if D'Angelo wins, I don't think that'd be too great of a moment either. But I really do think it probably is between those 2. And whatever happens between Page and Saints is sort of the bridge to get to that point.
Fuck it. Joe retains. Joe retains. He's probably going to the main roster too. Do the sing-songy gimmick on the main roster. Fucking would probably get up with Danhausen and
maybe Ricky Saints should bring that back.
Oof. No. He'll never do that ever again. He'll go out of his way to never be compared to The Rock ever again. But he's bounced back. He's still good on NXT. Don't get me wrong. I like him, but that was we won't talk about that already. But there you go. There's our predictions. So I'm going with Tony and Joe. I feel like we could totally, if we're getting new champions all around on other titles, I think Joe winning, maybe he's got a bit of a run. His run kind of just been pretty boring as NXT champion. I
think if there's double the wrestlers in a match, you should be allowed to have double the picks. You should be allowed.
That's right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Jack. I appreciate that.
I stand by you.
There you go. My picks are 2 different people in this thing, but it's got to be one of those. I don't see Ricky or Ethan doing it. I feel like both of them should leave NXT, but then we'd be stripped again of our talent. So maybe no one should leave NXT at this point right now. We need new people who can step up to the plate. Like, what's next year's Stand and Deliver going to look like?
Yeah. Right? Will we even have people who can stand and deliver in the main event?
Exactly. We have some feedback. We have a Poisonrana Facebook page you can like, and a group that you can join that we post feedback threads and memes and stupid stuff. But we have 2 pieces of feedback here. I will read them both for us, Jack. First from Cameron, who writes in, average episode of NXT. Blake Monroe is still bad. It's criminal that Kehlani and Jada aren't on the card, but she should have made it a ladder match, meaning the North American women's title. He continues, a lot of people won't like this opinion. If it's a triple threat, let Lola win, pinning JC, send her to the main roster. Kendall's time will come. I'm all in for Lola having a run before she moves up. I like that, Cameron. I know what you mean. Like, Lola's definitely stepped up and improved, and I just don't know if it's the right time for that.
It's a decent counterpoint to say that, listen, Gray's not going anywhere, and if she's this good, there will be tons of other chances to give her that opportunity. I still stand by what I say, but I think that is a good argument.
I see M. Darrett in the chat says, justice for Lola. I agree. We have Fire Frank who writes in. He says, fun time live in New York with a hot crowd. Yes, Fire Frank was live in New York City, Madison Square Garden Theater. He says, thought the tag contenders match stole the show. The crowd really loved Los Americanos. They were obviously way behind Santana, Jada as well. They were really into the main event as well, as both got good reactions. And when Uncle Sean came out, the crowd spontaneously started singing his theme song, which I'm sure he got a kick out of. Booker T got love all night long. Definitely got my money's worth. Looking forward to Stand and Deliver. There you go.
Every night is Booker T appreciation night.
Yes. The one issue, Frank, going to NXT Live, you don't get to hear the great dulcet tones of Booker T's commentary when you watch it. But I know Frank, he's probably home already watching it back to make sure he didn't miss any of Booker T's bites, as I call them, from tonight. But thank you, Frank. As always, I'm glad you had a good time. I saw our friend John Cino also went to the show, and he said he had a fun time as well over at the MSG Theatre. So looked pretty good. Appreciate the feedback, Cameron and Frank. And join the Facebook group if you haven't already, folks. I mentioned we have so many other shows coming out, even though while Davey's away. Our WrestleMania 17 review is coming out literally in just a few minutes. I'll put it up on the Patreon, so it will be available tomorrow. It's about 3+ hours of Davey and I talking all about WrestleMania 17. But I put up a poll while Davey was away. Our friend Graham is going to join me for a show. And I put up a bunch of like old school Shaw Brothers Kung Fu movies that Graham wanted to review. And all of you out there voted the 36th Chamber of Shaolin from 1978. So tomorrow I will watch it and then review it with Graham. And that will be out on the Patreon later this week, early next week as well. So tons of shows continuing on patreon.com/poisonrana. $5 to get this. Davey and I also just recently dropped a wasNXT. We go through old NXT. We recently been going through the Tyson Kidd, Natalia, Sami Zayn, Neville kind of feud and everything. So tons of different podcasts out there on our Patreon. We love all different stuff. We review movies, old wrestling pay-per-views, martial arts movies, whatever it is, we review it, and it's $5. So sign up and support Poisonrana. And I mentioned we'll be at Dynasty Weekend. We will be doing like snap ranas and voice notes and fun stuff. So looking forward to tons of those things. And this Saturday, live after Stand and Deliver, John Pollock and myself will be talking all about it. But then Tuesday, Jack, you're joining me one last time next Tuesday. All the fallout from Stand and Deliver. Will our predictions come true? Who will be champion? Who will still be in NXT? Who will know what will happen next week?
Yeah, I heard you're getting a video package ready because it's Jack Wannan Appreciation Night.
Yeah, we'll do that for sure. And then someone will interfere and interrupt it.
That's how Davey gets back on the show.
Yeah, right. He'll be like, whoa, you're doing too good of a job there. You better watch it. Better watch it. Appreciate, Jack. Thank you for your time watching NXT tonight. It takes a lot to watch NXT, but you did it. And you also write the reports for Post Wrestling and whatnot. What else you got going on?
Yeah, no, I'm doing tons of stuff for Post Wrestling, covering the ins and outs of professional wrestling and MMA, along with the great team we have there, doing news reports on the site, postwrestling.com, and helping out where I can with podcasts, whether that be our daily audio updates, which catch you up on all the news of the day in just a few minutes, or, helping out with other podcasts like the one you're listening to right now. If you want to follow me on Twitter or Blue Sky, my handle is Jack Wannan. That's JackWannan. Always talking about the exciting big stories and the very niche stories that sometimes only I care about in professional wrestling. So make sure to give me a follow if you're interested in that. Of course, thanks again for having me on. I appreciate it. It's fun to be here. And even when someone is tapping out while winning a match, I enjoy the experience.
I know, as a true MMA fan, it must just rattle you just to see like a tap out during a pinfall. I guess that couldn't happen, and maybe that'll happen on the White House lawn. That'll be the finish to a match, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
No. Is Kennedy Jr. in that? Is he going to be in the cage? Robert Kennedy Jr. Is he going to fight? Is he going to fight while wearing jeans? that a thing? No? Okay, never mind. Anyways, thank you everyone for listening. Appreciate, again, this Saturday we will talk at Poisonrana Pod, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you use. Find us, follow us, and appreciate all the NXT friends and the postmarks out there. We'll chat Saturday night. That is it. That is all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And we shall stand and we will deliver. Goodbye. Peace out. Forever.